For over 40 years, Voyager 2 has quietly traveled through the furthest regions of our solar system, far beyond the planets, past the asteroid belt and into the outermost boundaries where even the influence of the sun's powerful solar winds begins to fade. A solitary probe propelled by weakening nuclear power and drifting through space under the force of inertia, it has journeyed deeper into the cosmic unknown. Many believed it had become irrelevant, a forgotten relic lost in the cold expanse. But just when it seemed destined for permanent silence, Voyager 2 unexpectedly sent back a signal. Though distorted and difficult to interpret, it was unmistakably real, an eerie confirmation of a possibility long whispered among scientists, that the edge of our solar system is not a boundary, but a threshold. And on the other side of that, a threshold, something might be observing. This event is not part of a fictional story or speculative theory. It is a real signal sent by a human-made spacecraft launched in 1977. What Voyager 2 encountered could fundamentally alter our understanding of space, matter, and the idea that something may have been waiting beyond the solar system's edge. Once you learn what happened, the night sky may never appear the same again. For years, scientists believed the heliopause, the boundary where the sun's solar wind is overtaken by the interstellar medium, was a smooth and gradual transition, like a cosmic bubble marking the end of our system. But when Voyager 2 crossed this region in late 2018, the data told a different story. The readings did not show a soft change in pressure or magnetic field strength. Instead, the probe recorded what appeared to be a dense, defined barrier, far more resistant than any models had predicted. Cosmic ray detectors aboard Voyager 2 showed a sharp spike, as if something were actively resisting its passage. The plasma instruments detected not smooth shifts, but abrupt, violent transitions, shock waves rather than gradients. Initially, the scientific community was skeptical. Some suggested the readings were instrument errors caused by decades of exposure to cosmic radiation, but the precision and timing of the anomalies were inconsistent with system degradation. Voyager 2 had genuinely encountered resistance, an active, forceful presence beyond the heliopause. It gave the impression that the probe had not exited into emptiness, but entered a defined corridor, perhaps even one that was organized or patrolled. Months after this crossing, something even more enigmatic occurred. A burst of data arrived from the spacecraft, but it did not resemble standard telemetry. Instead of routine reports and plasma readings, the signal exhibited patterns across unexpected frequencies. Some described it as musical, a looping frequency with rhythmic qualities. It reminded analysts of a digital pulse or heartbeat. Others speculated it resembled an echo, as if it had bounced off something structured in the void. When engineers ran the signal through various filters and decoding models, they discovered geometric patterns, fractal-like repetitions, and echo-like latencies that hinted the signal had passed through, or interacted with, a complex medium, or even a form of intelligence capable of reflection. Although the discovery wasn't immediately made public, internal conversations within the scientific community began to refer to it as the pulse loop. One researcher privately asked a chilling question: are we sure it was our signal that came back, or was it sent back to us? That question marked a turning point. Voyager 2 wasn't merely drifting through interstellar space. It had made contact, or rather, it had been noticed. Then came a further development that deepened the mystery. Voyager 2's magnetometer, though barely functioning, registered an anomaly indicative of a large, moving magnetic source. This object wasn't a planet or star and didn't match the signature of any known celestial body. It was cold, dense, and shifting. More disturbingly, it seemed to be circling or scanning the probe from a distance of just over 2 astronomical units. Its magnetic signature showed a pattern, a rhythm, evidence of deliberate motion rather than passive drifting. A few researchers quietly speculated that the object might be artificial in nature, perhaps a sentinel of some kind, silently observing interstellar space. A confidential internal document even proposed the idea that Voyager 2 might have activated a dormant system, a passive monitor that had been waiting for a signal to wake it. If this is true, then our understanding of space must fundamentally change. The outer boundary of our solar system might not be an unstructured vacuum, but a layered region, possibly similar to how the Earth's oceans contain temperature boundaries known as thermoclines, or how Jupiter's atmosphere has bands and layers invisible to the human eye. These structures might be imperceptible to us, but not to the sensitive instruments on a decades-old spacecraft drifting alone. This idea raises troubling questions. What if the solar system is not an isolated region, but part of a larger, compartmentalized system? What if the heliopause is not a natural barrier, but a controlled threshold, designed either to contain what is inside or to keep outside forces from entering? Around this time, the updates shared with the public about Voyager 2 became more limited and sanitized. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, NASA communications indicated growing confusion. Engineers flagged certain data packets for containing non-standard behavior. Consultations began with physicists who specialized in quantum field phenomena. Confidential reports used terms like temporal backflow, delayed wave collapse, and non-local interference, phrases far more common in theoretical physics than in deep space telemetry. Some of the time-stamped data returned from Voyager 2 didn't match its known trajectory and seemed instead to reflect positions it had not yet reached, as though echoing from its own future path. That was the moment that many realized they had crossed into unknown territory. Roughly a month after the pulse loop event, a new and entirely separate signal was detected. This time, not from Voyager 2, but from deep space, in the direction it had traveled. The signal was faint and erratic, not associated with any known astronomical object. SETI briefly analyzed the signal before receiving informal orders to halt their review. This transmission did not align with any known human or natural sources. Its pattern mirrored the timing structure of Voyager's earlier signal, but it was inverted, suggesting not a random occurrence, but a deliberate reflection or reply. The implication was chilling. Voyager 2 had not just transmitted into the void, it had been answered, and the reply, while not in any spoken language, seemed to use signal structure and rhythmic timing, like an interstellar protocol for recognition. There was no official disclosure. Internal logs referencing the signal were quietly removed, and those who attempted to speak out were told it was a matter of protocol. But some feared the real reason was more unsettling, that we had made contact and no one knew how to respond. In the more speculative corners of academia, interest in the Voyager 2 incident surged. Theoretical physicists who had long been dismissed began receiving renewed attention. One proposed that the spacecraft had entered what's known in string theory as a hyperspatial filament, a zone where gravity and electromagnetic fields operate in patterned, interactive ways. Another theory suggested that deep space might function more like a biological network, a galactic nervous system that reacts to disturbances. The most controversial idea came from a retired aerospace scientist who helped design the original Voyager telemetry systems. He proposed that the heliopause was not a natural boundary at all, but an artificial containment field, a way to separate stellar systems, not to keep others out, but to keep something in. According to his theory, Voyager 2 had not escaped. It had triggered an ancient detection system, or perhaps disturbed something meant to remain dormant. Perhaps the most unsettling part of this entire event isn't the signal itself, or even The possible presence of intelligence. It's the unprecedented institutional response. Never before has a space probe's data prompted so many classified meetings, internal revisions, and veiled public briefings. If this were merely an isolated glitch, the scientific community would have moved on. But many suspect this is only the beginning, a first encounter with a system that is far more organized, responsive and aware than we ever imagined. Some theorize the signal Voyager received was not meant for us, but part of a dormant network activated only when triggered, a kind of celestial tripwire. If that's the case, then Voyager 2 didn't just find something. It set it in motion. The real question may not be what lies beyond the boundary, but whether humanity was ever meant to cross it at all. Voyager 2 was never expected to return, not in person, not even through its signals. It was humanity's message in a bottle, sent into the great unknown. But what it encountered, and what may have encountered it, challenges everything we thought we knew. The edge of the solar system was assumed to be lifeless, still, and silent. Yet the data tells a different story. It speaks of a structured space, a responsive system, and the potential presence of something that has been watching. What Voyager 2 confirmed aligns with long-standing fears, that space may not be as empty, chaotic, or indifferent as we believed. There may be thresholds we were never meant to cross, lines, drawn long before our species learned to gaze beyond the stars. Now that line has been touched.